Maybe it's because my birthday is in April, but spring has always felt like my season. I love a fresh start and a new beginning. March can be a little dreary and gray, so I like to use this month by welcoming spring.
The day that I know I'm in love, will it feel warm and dry like a kiss in July? Will it chill down my bones? Will it cool like the snow? And I look at my window to see what the universe has in store for me. People passing by in the street will be smiling at me, 'cause they already know what it's like being in love. The sky starts to roll up its clouds, so the sun can't just stop hiding out. The windows will open and sing like birds that are spreading their wings. So every night I stare at the moon just to check if she's still looking blue. Don't know who you are yet, you seem a bit hard to get, but I know you're out there. I just wait for the day where the sky will spread open its clouds, so the sun can just stop hiding out. The windows will open and sing like birds that are spreading their wings. And I spot you right across the street, like a song that is playing just for me. We'll know when we're smiling.
Yeah, I think I changed my I was done growing up, had enough of chasing down the sun, but suddenly I can see everything evergreen. I won't profess I've got it figured out. I know I'm only getting started now, still learning the ups and the downs. But I'm seeing everything through brand new eyes, taking in the world through different light. Thought I wasted all my life, but I think I changed my mind. I was done growing up, had enough of chasing down the sun, but suddenly I can see everything evergreen.
1, 2, 3, 4. I hate the way they always kiss in the kitchen, acting like they're still just 21. They always seem to go for walks on Sundays and doing things they did when they were young. So I'll ask when I go home, but maybe the whole point's not to know what's the secret to keeping the love alive. What's the secret to keeping the love alive for so long?
I have finished my spring reading list. I'm so excited about it. I make a reading list every season, and this one I think is gonna be really good. I feel like this is the best one I've done so far. I have 10 books I want to read this spring. Most of them will be audiobooks. So number 1 is Middlemarch by George Eliot. It's set in the 1830s in an English Midlands town and kind of follows intersecting stories of the people who live there. I actually started this last spring and I really loved the first couple chapters. I thought it was genuinely very funny, like laugh out loud funny, which is impressive for a book from the 1870s, and just really sharp and witty and entertaining, and I loved just being immersed in the life in this little town. And then I just kind of lost my way. I was listening to it on audiobook and I would realize I'd gone like a couple chapters and I had no idea what was happening. I feel like with 19th century books, sometimes I'm just like missing the political and social context to really like fully grasp the story. It's the kind of book that I would want to take a class on. Like I really want to get everything that George Eliot is doing in this book. So I'm gonna try it again, kind of take it more slowly, and maybe try to incorporate some like podcasts or I don't know, primary sources, supplement my reading experience so I'm like really getting into it. The second one is Venetia by Georgette Heyer. This is a book from the 1950s, but it's a Regency romance and has the typical trope of an innocent, overprotected girl and a rakish lord. I think Georgette Heyer is considered like the inventor of the Regency romance genre. And what I've heard is that they are quite beloved, highly entertaining, but also pretty historically accurate, or at least historically well researched, and like really immerse you in the time period. So I'm really excited about this. She's quite prolific. She wrote a lot of books, so I really hope I like this because that means I have like so many books to enjoy. Number 3 is Sanditon by Jane Austen. It was one of her unfinished novels about a young girl who is sent to a seaside town to stay with relatives, and they're trying to turn this seaside town into more of a fashionable resort town. I've read all of Jane Austen's like big 6? You know what I mean. And I've had Sanditon on my shelf forever. I actually found this beautiful vintage copy at an antique store and I've been wanting to read it for so long. I think different people have finished this novel. This one is credited as Jane Austen and another lady. Yeah, I'm really excited. I love Jane Austen, one of my favorite authors, and I still have more left of her work to dig into, which is so exciting. I actually did watch the PBS like Masterpiece Classic adaptation of this novel. I would recommend it if you like this era. There's lots of beautiful gowns and balls and scenery. Like a lot of PBS Masterpiece series, I think the first season is pretty strong and then it really loses its way, and I think it also really strays from the source text. It is definitely a lovely show to watch in spring. Number 4 is The Language of Flowers. This is a 2011 novel about a girl who grows up in foster care and struggles to get close to people, so she uses flowers to communicate, kind of inspired by the Victorian language of flowers. I just love the Victorian era. I just want to live in it all of spring. I think this is supposed to be pretty substantive, but also a bit lighter. I read a lot of very heavy books this winter, so I'm hoping this is, you know, moving, but still optimistic and cathartic. Spring is a hopeful season. Number 5 is An Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. This was recommended to me by one of you, and I am super excited about it. Again, Victorian era. I'm obsessed. I always have been my entire life. It is a historical fantasy rom-com about rival ornithologists who are searching through Victorian England for a rare magical bird. I don't read enough fantasy, so I'm very excited about that. And the person recommending it to me was saying that it has very good rapport, very good character development, just like laugh out loud, funny and entertaining. So I'm really excited about it, and thank you for the recommendation. Number 6 is Tom Lake. It's about 3 sisters who return home during the COVID pandemic and learn the story of their mother's youthful romance with a now famous actor. I read The Dutch House by the same author this fall and I loved it. It was one of my favorite books I read last year. And I really loved the writing style, so it made me want to read more of Anne's books. I'm a little bit on the fence about books set during the pandemic. I am equally fascinated by how people are using that period to inform storytelling and art, and I also just feel like we lived through it not that long ago. I don't know that I really want to like sit with it just yet. But I do know that this was a very popular, well-received, critically acclaimed book, and I do love mother-daughter stories. I love a contemplative family drama. I I love a single setting type story. I love when it moves back and forth in time. I think this is set up to be maybe my favorite of this 10. The other Bennett sister is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, I think you could say, spin-off that focuses on Mary Bennett, who's the kind of forgotten sister of Pride and Prejudice. She doesn't really have any romantic plot or character arc. She's just kind of there and weird. I've not engaged in any of the Jane Austen spin-off literature. I'm really excited to dip my toes in. I know that this book is quite beloved, so I have very high expectations. And I love a coming-of-age story. I love an anti-heroine. Yeah, I think the idea of focusing on Mary Bennett is fascinating because that is definitely the character type that does not get centered in this genre of romance, so I think this will be very refreshing and thought-provoking. Number 8 is Edenbrooke, another Regency romance that's supposed to be really fun. A fiery heroine, sprawling estate, a handsome heir. We've all been there. Relatable content. Number 9, A Scandal in Spring, another Regency romance. I cannot be stopped. I really want to find a good one. I read a few last spring because I love the genre and I was kind of disappointed, so I'm pulling from all different areas. I think this one's supposed to be a little bit spicier. I don't mind that. And this one does have an American heiress, although I think she does end up in London. Husband hunting, you know, the man she's supposed to marry is terrible, but maybe he's a little bit sexy. Good stuff. I think this is a series. I hope I enjoy it because I haven't read a series. I don't know the last time I read a series. I don't know the last time I read the second book in a series. It might have been like Molly Moon when I was like 12. Lemon Thump. I know if you ever read Lemon Thump. Lemon Thump. I don't even know if I read the second book of Lemon Thump. Anyway. And number 10, another one I'm so excited about, The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery. I really only ever read the Anne of Green Gables series growing up, and in the last couple of years I've read some of her other books like The Golden Road, Jane and Lantern Hill, I think it's called, Jane In. And I really enjoyed them, so I'm so excited. I love when I remember that authors I love have other books I can read, and then there's just this whole world still waiting for me. The Blue Castle is for adults, which I'm excited about. I think it's like an adult romance, and yeah, I'm so excited. I love Ellen Montgomery. She hasn't let me down yet. Now for movies, I have 10 movies also on my movie watch list. Again, I think this is some of my best work. I'm really excited about these movies. Some of them are movies I've been wanting to watch for a long time. I keep putting them off. I don't know why, because I think they're going to be really good. So I'm going to do it. Loving Vincent is a animated film about Vincent van Gogh, and it is the first painted animated film. So I think that just sounds so beautiful, and I'm so excited to watch it. I don't know a lot about Van Gogh. I have been to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. Great artist. Loved his work. Van Gogh art history, not things I know a lot about. Would love to. Maybe art history will become my spring pursuit. 20th Century Women is set in the 1970s about women coming together to kind of raise a child in community. It's a period piece about women forming bonds. There's nothing more I could really want from a movie. It also has Greta Gerwig, Elle Fanning, all-star cast. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I can't wait. Our Little Sister is a Japanese drama film about two sisters who get to know their half-sister after the death of their father. This director made Shoplifters, which is one of my, well, I don't know if I could say favorite because I might start crying just thinking about it. It's so devastating, but it is one of the most affecting films I've ever seen, and I'm prepared to be moved and hurt by this movie. April Story is another Japanese film about a shy girl from the countryside who moves to Tokyo to attend university. It's called April Story, so I'll have to watch it in April. Basically, I just looked at people's spring lists on Letterboxd and added anything that was really highly reviewed, and also really, I think, set in Japan. I mean, it's like one of the most cinematic countries ever. Every movie made there is fantastic. Minari is a movie about a Korean American family who immigrate to a farm in Arkansas. Very critically acclaimed. This came out in 2020, and I remember people really loving it, and I just never got around to seeing it, and now I'm gonna do it. It's the time. I'm honestly very behind on the good movies of the last 5 years, and I'm gonna catch up this year. I'm gonna watch all of them. Becoming Jane, not one of the best movies, I don't think, of the last 20 years. It's inspired by the life of Jane Austen. I don't know how accurate it actually is, but I've watched basically every Jane Austen affiliated film. I'm honestly shocked I haven't seen this. It's Anne Hathaway, so it'll be fun. I got sick this winter and I spent like 3 days watching like Monte Carlo, Stick It, The Parent Trap, Aquamarine, like all the classics, and they just hit different, these movies from the early 2000s, so I'm excited. And I love this period and I love being unserious about it, and I think that's what this movie will do. A Silent Voice is a Japanese animated film about a young boy who bullies a deaf girl in middle school and then later in life is incredibly remorseful and tries to make amends. Another movie I was intrigued by on people's spring lists on Letterboxd. I like a movie where the characters are very complicated, where things aren't necessarily black and white, kind of sitting with the uncomfortable gray area of life. And honestly, the only Japanese animation I've watched is Studio Ghibli, so I need to broaden my horizons. Speaking of which, The Garden of Words is another Japanese animated film about a young boy who is an aspiring shoemaker and is encountering a mysterious woman when he visits a garden. I honestly am not too clear on the plot, and I like that. I like going into movies like Pretty Blind, but I love a garden. I love a secret garden, botanical garden, a formal garden. Anne of Green Gables. This is the 1980s, I think it's actually like a mini series, so it's like a few different episodes. But yeah, I cannot believe I haven't seen this. I've obviously watched Anne with an E, and I loved that, and I love Anne of Green Gables. I'm so excited. This is the one I'm like the most excited for because I can't believe I haven't seen it. And I think this is gonna be exactly the kind of movie that feels like the movies I watched in childhood. Like my childhood movie was the 1960s Pollyanna, and that just takes me to a place when I watch it, and I think this movie will do the same. Just the most cozy, nostalgic girlhood vibes. The last one is Past Lives. Again, one of the great movies that have come out in the last few years that I haven't gotten around to seeing and have been meaning to. It comes highly recommended to me, and I'm really excited about it. I think I'm really gonna love it as well. Alrighty, that is everything I plan to read and watch this spring. I feel really good about it. I'm expecting half of these to be in my top 10 at the end of the year. Definitely, as always, give me your recommendations. Let me know what you're reading and watching. It is truly a special time. The sun is out, the leaves will come soon, and of course, thank you so much for watching.